The views presented in this program are not meant to express the specific views of the Lafayette Bible Fellowship. You are listening to the Vigilance Radio Network.
All right, welcome back to Culture Insanity. We're on episode number 10, landmark episode tonight. I don't know if anyone's tuning in yet, but if you are, thanks for joining. episode number 10. Yeah.
Thank you.
More. No. Yeah. So if you're tuning in, thanks for being around. Thanks for being here. And feel free to interact and participate as we start discussing. So just up front, I think Josh just posted it on our Facebook page, but just some things we're going to be talking about in case I don't know, there's no real spoiler topics, I would say.
I don't think so. I didn't get around to posting it. I thought you were going to do it.
Oh, my bad. Well,
or Jasmine, who's with us today.
Yeah, well, there
Hello,
you go.
I'm here.
No real spoilers, but some things we're going over tonight in case you want to know up front. So we're going to be talking about Planned Parenthood and their dream of a Disney princess that is trans or has had an abortion or, any of these things. So Planned Parenthood has wants and desires for the next Disney princess. We're going to be talking about this upcoming movie starring, I'm going to butcher this, Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. He's a great actor.
A great actor, but he's got a movie coming out in a couple of weeks, and it is based on a real-life pastor, evangelical, or Pentecostal pastor, rather, who, switched his tune in terms of what it is that he believed and preached to his people. And then we're going to be talking about a little bit about this Passion sequel and what it faces, because there's a Passion of the Christ sequel in the works. And we're going to be talking about why people join cults. And last but not least, why Gal Gadot is just so dang insensitive. Just kidding. I'm being facetious. But so yeah, there's a few things that we're going to be talking about right up front. So yeah, again, if you're tuning in, thanks for being here, and we look forward to hearing your comments and corrections, because they're always there. So I guess first up, the Planned Parenthood thing. We'll just come out the gates swinging here. So this just was a couple days ago or something, but Planned Parenthood had a tweet that has since been deleted pretty quickly, I think, actually, but saying something along the line. Here's what their tweet read. We need a Disney princess who's had an abortion. We need a Disney princess who's pro-choice. We need a Disney princess who's an undocumented immigrant. We need a Disney princess who's actually a union worker. And we need a Disney princess who's trans. So that's fun. That tweet was pretty quickly deleted. So it was actually posted by Planned Parenthood, Minneapolis chapter or whatever, you know what I mean? It was some sister Twitter or whatever to the actual full-on Planned Parenthood, but endorsed by Planned Parenthood. So the legit Planned Parenthood Twitter account, spoke to it. It was quickly deleted, and they said, yes, we joined an ongoing Twitter conversation about the kinds of princesses people want to see in an attempt to make a point about the importance of telling stories that challenge stigma and championing stories that too often don't get told. But then this person, the CEO of Planned Parenthood, Melissa Reed or whatever, said, but upon reflection, we decided that the seriousness of the point we were trying to make was not appropriate for the subject matter or context, and so we removed the tweet.
You think?
So, yeah, but the point of conversation that we can spring off of for here is just how more and more social agendas and political agendas are just continuing to prey on young minds. And this is totally random, but I just thought of this. So I was watching Ice Age, the first one, 2 days ago with Oliver, my son, and there's straight up a gay rhino couple in it, and there's a a salad tossing innuendo.
Really?
Yeah, look it up. It's like
We need to find this clip.
it's just an innuendo.
I'm gonna find the clip.
It's not totally on the nose, but it's there. It's there, and they're definitely
nice, Jasmine.
They're definitely
What?
implied.
Nothing.
Yeah, they're definitely implied gay rhinos from Ice Age. But yeah, more and more, these social and political agendas that are just aggressively targeted toward young minds, and this is just more on that point. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Josh?
My thoughts right now are that I'm looking up that clip. You should ask.
That was
Jazz-
a side clip.
I'm
I'm
trying
sorry,
to get my
it's-
internet to work.
It's so interesting. What was the question again? Sorry.
Just thoughts
This is
on
episode 10. We're getting lazy here.
Yeah. So like the homosexual agenda, for example, like
Oh, just how media is pushing, or not even media, but like, what would you call it? Social justice warriors? What would you call it? I mean, Planned Parenthood is
social justice warriors. I don't know.
Planned Parenthood is I don't know. It's been a thing, since the inception of media, to use media that way. For me, what's crazy about it is just how brash it was. I mean, it was so brash of these people. Jasmine, did you post that article at all?
It's loading still.
Oh, it's loading.
They're
Okay.
so brash that they were like, "Ooh, maybe it's too brash."
Right. That big Planned Parenthood was like, that's maybe not such a good idea. I'm gonna find that article here. But that's not necessarily a new thing, but it's a sign of the times that you have.
Well, in Disney specifically, Disney's always had like weird subliminal.
They have, but they've kind of stayed away from that though. Although I know that there was a big push for Elsa to have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And there's also a thing about Elsa wearing pants in the new Broadway Frozen.
Because women wear pants too, or something.
I don't know. There's an article about it. I'll see if I can find that one too. Let's see. Planned Parenthood. What was it?
Disney princess.
Yeah. Oh, right. We need a Disney princess who's had an
I got
abortion.
it.
Yeah,
I can't type Planned Parenthood abortion because that's pretty much what it's about. So
Yeah, the article I read was on USA Today. Planned Parenthood called for Disney princess who's had an abortion in a now deleted tweet. That's where I found this article.
yeah, I found it. I'm gonna.
I posted
Yeah, but
it.
Disney's.
You got to it before me? Okay.
It just loading.
I got the next one. What was the other thing I was gonna post?
Ice
Ice
Age.
Age.
No, not that one. I said I was gonna post something else.
Elsa pants.
Yes, Elsa pants.
Yeah, but so Disney's always had those kinds of things, and they're sort of like under the surface, type thing.
Right.
But like you're saying, it's so brash now, and it's so just in your face, and yeah, I don't know, and it's
but that's not a Disney thing. That's a Planned Parenthood thing trying to make that into a thing. You know what I mean?
I know, but I'm just saying, like, kids movies. I mean, Ice Age wasn't even Disney, but it's always been a thing. There's always been weird subliminal overtones and stuff like that in children's movies. But like you said, nowadays it's just so in your face, and it's like you said, it's a sign of times, and it's scary. It's like, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
You just stop watching all those things because that's what's coming.
I mean, I don't think so. I think you have to have your eyes open. You have to be clear. The thing that you have to be clear-minded, the thing that we have to take into account, we just lost all of our viewers.
Good. Bye.
The thing that we have to take into account is that this isn't a new thing, and this is a systematic attack on really any sort of ideology. It takes things and makes it completely subjective. Like what realm, like what makes Planned Parenthood think that we need those things? Because they have an agenda. It's not because it's more entertaining. It's not necessarily because it's more realistic even. It's because they have an agenda, because they want to create a realism. And it's really, we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about it in our setup for this. But it's really interesting to look at the stats for Roseanne.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you guys have seen the stats for Roseanne, but they're kind of staggering.
Yeah, they like blew away projections. You mean the return of Roseanne?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Roseanne, she's back. She's pro-Trump. No, that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, yeah. I mean, and everyone has an agenda, right? Even in our podcast, like, people that have talked to me, for example, like, I've made it clear to them, like, this podcast does have an agenda. Like, we're not just talking flippantly, we're talking through the filter of this, and so it's another agenda, but a false narrative.
Yeah. If you look at the ratings for Roseanne, I mean, it's crazy. So to give you an idea, Will and Grace. Okay, so Will and Grace was renewed by NBC and turned into a reboot, right? And that's going to be going till 2020. So let's see. Will and Grace drew more than 10 million viewers in its return episode in September. Okay? That's nothing to sneeze at for an old show. So Will and Grace drew more than 10 million viewers, and Will and Grace is about basically a series of characters who are avant-garde in their thinking, except for one, Megan Mullally, who plays sort of a more conservative, like upper class person, but the rest of them are all sort of, they're in New York, and they're being countercultural or cultural if you're in New York. So that drew more than 10 million viewers, which is amazing. Okay, but with 1 day of delayed viewing factored in, the audience for the Roseanne premiere was 21.9 million viewers.
More than double.
Right. And that was considered to be, the 10 million viewers was considered to be a huge success for a reboot show. So the Roseanne thing, I mean, this is beyond huge success. The other thing is that its ratings was among adults under 50. And the rating went up 22% to a 6.2 rating. Basically, if you read through all of that, what you're hearing is that the people that actually watched Roseanne when it aired 20 years ago are not the people who are watching the reboot. So, not that those people aren't watching the reboot, but they're not the same people who are watching the reboot. It's a younger America that is resonating with these characters that are more conservative.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk of like... what is it? Home Improvement, like being rebooted because it's like blue collar Christian.
Is that the like what's on the horizon then? Is instead of a young cultural America, there's a young America that's going back to that
to the conservative side.
Like, what does that mean?
It's a culture. It's a culture war.
How do you make sense of that then? Like, is there any conclusions that should be drawn, or theories? Or projections that should be drawn from that?
Well, I mean, Hollywood's definitely drawing conclusions. I mean, the ABC, which, by the way, is owned by the mouse. So, like, owned by Disney. So, and Disney is, like, super pro counterculture. So, and I'll post this article about Roseanne.
I thought it was pro-culture. Counterculture is speaking against culture, right?
Well, counterculture is a term used specifically in regard to things that were generally culturally acceptable, like in the 1950s. So let's just call it postmodern.
Disney is postmodern.
Yeah, Disney is highly postmodern, super subjective in its thought process, and it's very liberal. But of course, they own Roseanne, and so it's good for them because they're making money on both sides.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole presidential election was that same way too, right?
Right.
It's like Hillary Clinton, she's for sure going to win.
Right.
Like all these experts that projected that and stuff, and and then what happened? Like, oh, what the, and then all of a sudden Trump won. So why is that?
Right.
what does that mean for culture and for young America?
Well, I think so. Basically, in my mind, what it means is that it's not summed up. What it means is that even though we have a narrative that's being pushed on us, that
aggressively pushed
loudly
pushed on us. That's why it seems like maybe the dominating narrative,
right? By Planned Parenthood and others, that this is the way it actually is. The truth is that you have 21.9 viewers million viewers as opposed to 10 million viewers.
It's really interesting.
Who are out there and, looking for something more than that. They don't want to be told that that's their America or their agenda. They want something more.
And they're just the loudest, so it seems like it's the dominating.
Yeah, and that's
thing. It's really interesting.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing in history.
Yeah. Planned Parenthood. Any thoughts from you over there?
Well, I was just reading, when I was reading the article, I always like to scroll towards the comments to see what people think about it. And, there's all these comments like, why would you even think this would be good for a Disney princess? These are adult issues, not children's issues.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. It's...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's interesting sort of I don't know if you'd call it cultural appropriation, age appropriation, maybe. Like, it's sort of built
pushing bigger things onto a younger audience.
Right. Yeah. It's
making a younger audience shoulder things that they're not prepared to shoulder.
It's built into the way that we do things and think about things now. Especially with like media being so rampantly available, I think there is that sort of want of the geek like class, for instance, to make things like comic books about adults rather than about children. And we can get into where they came from in reality and so on and so forth. But that's why you have whole stations like Adult Swim, that are about that for adults. So
yeah, aren't there like crazy statistics too for like parents who indulge that sort of thinking with their kids and like, you can be whatever you want, you were born this way, blah, 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 and then their kids grow up to be confused as hell, and then they have like mental health problems, and then like there's like suicide rate statistics for kids that grow up in that environment when they're not taught basic truths and the black and whites that you teach kids at a young age, rather than just presenting all gray all the time from the time they were a baby to the time that whatever.
Right. People are always going to be able to show different statistics for different things depending on how they do their studies. I think about like the Kinsey study, which is still quoted sort of colloquially by people about sexuality and how 1 in every 10 people is homosexual. But like it's easy to disprove the Kinsey study. It was biased. But with that said, I think when you get out of the realm of that particular practice of science and you start looking at, like biology, for instance, it was at Portland State, actually, where the people walked out at Portland State. What am I thinking of, guys?
I have no idea.
Portland State, walkout.
Recently?
Yeah, there it is. Leftist student walks out when speaker says... It's James Damore at Portland State. Okay. James Damore at Portland State. Leftist students walk out when speaker says men and women are biologically different. So now we're talking about somebody... and the speaker...
This was one student that walked out?
No. It was like 4 or 5 students who like tried to cause... an uproar in this debate with James Damore. James Damore was the guy who worked at, was it Google?
Oh, yeah, that got in trouble.
Right.
Because of his internal messages and stuff.
Yeah, and you have these people who are on the panel who do not represent conservative agendas or Christianity, who are just saying, look, like, there are facts to life. One of these facts is that men and women are biologically different. So let's go away from the psychological fluidity, for instance.
It's funny how people already read into that statement as better or worse too.
Yeah.
It's not. They're not
Right.
intrinsically connected or something, but there is difference.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
I'll post a link right now to that.
You said they're biologically different. That must mean you hate women, you misogynist.
Right, exactly.
What? No, that's not what I said at all. I'm just saying that women have strength, are born a certain way, and have different strengths and weaknesses, and likewise with men.
Right. Oh, I keep clicking the wrong link. Okay, comment. Here we go. Post that. There we go. Got the YouTube video of the whole panel. It's actually a really interesting panel. If you guys get a
But
chance
yeah, you were
to watch
saying
it.
so they're not even representing
the full
the conservative view. They're just people.
Right. Well, let's see. I just posted. Where are you? I just posted a. It's not Disney. It's like a former Disney girl. I posted.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the actress.
Right, and she was just talking about how she had like a. Where is it? Can you find that article and post it, Jasmine?
Yep, I have it right now.
Okay, she'll post
Allison
it. To thread.
Stoner.
Bada bing, bada
Yeah,
boom.
Allison
Disney
Stoner.
star.
So she was just talking about how she was like working through her sexuality, and how she came to she like tried to be straight, and then but she had this like sort of sexual awakening with her dance teacher, who's a female, and she had this sort of sexual awakening, and she tried to be straight just to see, and then at the end of the article she makes this statement. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find it so I can be specifically accurate here. It's at the very end of the article. She's from Step Up, by the way. That's a priceless movie. Okay, so at the end of the article, she says, I, Allison, am attracted to men, women, and people who identify in other ways. I can love people of every gender identity and expression. It is the soul that captivates me. It is the love that we can build and the goodness that we can contribute to the world by supporting each other's best journeys. So, I mean, this is... Here we have not a specific identification with a specific idea, but rather a complete denial of any sort of
idea.
identification. Which eventually, which is funny because this position, this idea of the lack of the right to be cisgendered, the right to have a biological imperative when it comes to your sexuality, this idea that shouldn't exist in culture is something that has been pushed aside and worked to be pushed aside both in the educational field and in the media as something which is closed-minded. But it's funny because what that's eventually leading to is the idea that you can't actually identify as anything. So what happens when it becomes hateful for a homosexual to identify as homosexual? Right? Because they are locking themselves into loving only one kind. Like, this idea eats itself.
Yeah,
It's
no, I saw...
Ouroboros.
Gosh, well, we covered something maybe a couple episodes ago, and yeah, I can't remember what the topic was, but there was like retweets of it and people commenting on this person's... I can't remember what it was, but it was that exact thing. It was like, how dare you as a this person and as me as a person in this community also, like, how dare you do this? Because it's just like just like what you were saying. Like, it eats itself, and they turn on each other.
Well, we're seeing that right now with like Katy Perry and American Idol.
Oh, dude, totally.
yeah.
Me and my brother were just talking about. I think it was me and my brother. Maybe it was me and you. I don't know.
I don't know. Probably you and your brother.
But yeah.
We're seeing because she's like, she's definitely out there, and
It's more and more. It's like, you better be careful what you say, because that will be used against you, and you will be eaten.
yeah. If
So-
you take a position on anything,
You be careful, because the same group you're supporting, they'll eat you up for the same thing, because your indiscretions will be found out. Well, you'll slip up, and it's like,
well, and you just
can't live like that.
You just can't live
you
like
can't,
it.
You can't.
Like, you can't live as a sexual being and, like Katy Perry, for instance, saying that, these guys are cute or whatever. You can't live as a sexual being and then in the same vein, like, not allow yourself to be sexual.
Yeah.
Like,
she didn't set herself up for success
yeah.
in her own worldview.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Moving on. We'll come back to that one. I thought this was ridiculous, but so Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, was recently commented after Stephen Hawking passed away. Recently commented on it, and she said something along the lines of like, you know, bless your something, you know, nice about.
Well, like
you
you're
know,
going to
like,
be released or whatever. Like,
yeah,
I'll find the actual statement.
Released from
yeah,
your...
physical constraints.
Did you
Yeah.
find the actual
You were a
statement?
genius.
I'm
Now
finding
you
it.
finally get to be released from your physical.
Rest in
constraints.
peace, Dr. Hawking. Now you're free of any physical constraints. Your brilliance and wisdom will be cherished forever. Godot tweeted.
Yeah, and then people jumped
I'll
on
post
her.
it.
Then
Nice.
people jumped on her back because of that comment and how it was insensitive, and people called. She said many called the actress insensitive and an ableist.
I love it.
What? Just what? Do we have a name, like a negative name for everything?
Yes.
Yes.
An ableist, meaning what? Someone who can function with all their limbs? That's an
No,
ableist?
people who don't like people who are disabled.
Right. It should be a disableist, right?
I don't know. It's like racism, ableism. I don't know.
Well, but it wouldn't be able. Maybe
I don't even
it's
know that
discriminatory. is what
it's not
considered.
disable. It's like it should be like a matterist, materialist, right? Like because I don't know, because she's talking about him being dead versus alive. I don't know.
Steven Rashinsky's calling me.
Pick up.
Is he tuning in?
I don't know. Pick up. Tell him that he's on the air. Put it on speakerphone.
And then ask what he thinks.
Hey, what's up?
Tell him he's on speakerphone.
Do you remember what mile mark we went shooting on?
I don't remember, but we're in the middle of recording a podcast, and you just found yourself on the microphone.
Hi, Steven.
Hi.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
No, why? No, I don't remember. Like, it was 30 something or 300 something. I don't know.
I think it was like 38, but I
You should
I was hoping you were first.
ask him what he thinks about Gal Gadot and
I'm
Stephen
out
Hawking.
there now. I'm trying to
No.
type it.
Ask him what he thinks about Gal Gadot and Stephen Hawking.
Anyways, if you don't remember, that's cool. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
It was 30 something. Josh wants to know what you think about Gal Gadot and Stephen Hawking.
I think Gal Gadot is super hot, and Stephen Hawking's really sad that he died.
She was called an ableist for saying that he should rest in peace, and now he can be released from being in physical infirmity.
I couldn't hear any of that. What?
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Anyways, that was our good friend Steven Rashinsky. I don't even know where. Yeah, since when? Like when did it become a bad thing to just express sincere care and concern for people, man? And this was, like you said, it was just like our thing an episode or two ago with Kevin Smith and Chris Pratt.
Right.
You know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Chris Pratt, you know, who has never met Kevin Smith like formally, just said something like it had to do with this heart attack he had or something, and you know, I'll be praying for you, buddy, blah 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 blah. And people jumped on him.
Right.
Like, dude. And then Kevin Smith had to defend Chris Pratt against those people, and it's like, look, man, the guy was just showing love and showing compassion. Like, why are we jumping on his back? And why are we calling Gal Gadot an ableist? First of all, it's such a dumb word.
Yeah.
It's such a dumb word.
Yeah.
As if she believes she's, of a higher class and superior to Stephen Hawking.
Well, she is Jewish, so she's God's chosen people, and that's awesome.
Well, there's that.
I'm not being facetious or cynical when I'm saying, or critical when I'm saying that. Just so everybody knows, I actually think that. Let's see. This is what Kevin Smith said about Chris Pratt. Or Chris Pratt said, "Kevin, we don't know each other too good, but I've loved you since Clerks, and I'm praying my ass off for you because I believe in the healing power of prayer." That was a quote, by the way. Can you please pray with me, people? So this is what he said. And then people just started being really mean. And this is what... Then Kevin Smith had to say something for him. Let's see. Poor Chris Pratt, one of my favorite actors on the planet, effing put up a nice tweet where he's just like, "Hey man, I don't know you that much, but I love Clerks and I'm praying for you." And apparently people were like, "F your prayers," and attacked him. He continued, and number 1, thanks to Chris Pratt, how sweet that was. Number 2, please don't fight over stuff like that. It's a waste of time. Whether you're religious or not, someone saying, I'll pray for you. It's good intentions. If you can have, like, a sworn atheist like Kevin Smith, who is snarky, you know, and saucy, like, say that, like, why is it news that Gal Gadot said something nice about Stephen Hawking?
And
she
also pointed out why he was different.
It's true. That's why, because she pointed out that he was different.
And also this, you know, in, like, not to be super whatever, but let's not pretend like those conditions are good.
Right.
They are they're a battle for those people, and why are we having such a hard time calling it like it is? You know, like,
well, I think because
those people aren't of less value. They have that struggle in their life, and it's a physical constraint. That's literally what it is.
I think that Stephen Hawking made some sort of comment about
that. In the past, he's talked about how his illness or disease, ALS, condition, how it's maybe helped him in some ways because this reason and that reason. It
forced him, and then he doesn't have to do things like lectures and things like that. I would say he's looking on the bright side of things.
Yeah, like, it is a physical constraint. And so if you want to call Gal Gadot an ableist because she believes it's a physical constraint, then, I mean, so be it.
Yeah, I don't think that Stephen Hawking, though he recognized that there was some good, although I don't know on what grounds he has it.
I don't know that he preferred it.
But, I don't think that he would ever say, this was really good for me, so you should try it too.
Yeah, and who would?
Right.
What? Anyone that's being honest with themselves, who would? And and like people, I have the article up here, I thought, but people like, oh, here's the one. Someone retweeted it. Some other dude. I think you're fantastic, Gal, but this tweet is very ableist. His physical constraints didn't stop him from changing the world. Okay? She didn't say that. People with disabilities don't wish for death to be free of their challenges. We wish to be valued for what we can do, not pitied for what we can't.
I don't know.
I mean, talk about reading something into something that wasn't there.
People with disabilities, and then he says we. So it sounds to me like somebody is biased. Like, if Gal Gadot is ableist, then you're biased. That's what I would say.
Yeah, then you're a disableist.
You
have a prejudice against people that are
But
not
I feel like that term ableist is just not right. Like or not grammatically, but like it has the wrong meaning.
Gal, I'm chronically ill. Can't shower or even get myself out of bed. Lost 18 years thus far, but I ran a charity funding research for my illness and advocate for change. All from my bed. Is my life not important?
It's just...
Again, what?
Right. Did she say that?
Disablement is not shameful. Bigotry is.
Oh my gosh. Ugh. Yes, bigotry is. And bigotry goes both ways, right?
I'm telling you... it's so exhausting for me to like witness these things, and it's like, I mean, yeah. Gal Gadot is like, first of all, she's like a Hollywood A-list actress who, so far as I've seen, is like on the forefront of all these progressive ideals and stuff. But once again, like, they turn on each other. They just turn on each other. So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was ridiculous. We're living in a time now where you can't even express just
like a caring sentiment.
Yeah, whatever you would, just a nice sentiment
based on
without getting so many different things read into it.
Right.
It's like, how dare you speak?
Right.
How dare you speak? How dare you express, gratitude or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I bet if you were to ask Gal Gadot, she would not even consider herself in the same human league as Stephen Hawking.
She is Wonder Woman, though.
Yeah, there's that. And a Jew. So, anyways. Let's see. One more or game?
Let's play a game.
All right.
I'm nervous.
All right. We got a new game, but before that, hit our favorite button, would you?
Time to play the game.
No.
Time to play the game.
Cool. Yeah.
Did I not do that right? I was rocking out over here too.
Yeah, you were. I was like trying to get your attention.
Yes.
Hey, look over here.
Enjoy the music.
It plays out naturally because of the way I edited it. But we have a new game today. This is going to be fun.
Sort of speaking of the PC aspect of things, right?
Yeah. So our game today is a version of Guess Who, and since there's 3 of us, it's going to be like a three-way, battle here. So for those of you that don't know Guess Who, as I understand it, it's the game where you like put the card on your head and the person is trying to get you to guess the card that's on your head or the picture that's on your head or what the name that's on your head or whatever it is. So that's the game we're going to play. And the topic is movie/TV characters who have been resurrected and brought back, obviously in honor of
Resurrection Sunday
tomorrow. So,
Yes.
yes, once again, our podcast does have an agenda.
Yes.
What?
So we have a 3-way battle going on. So what happened was I found a few characters, Josh found a few characters, and Jasmine found a few characters, okay? I passed mine to Josh. Josh passed his to Jasmine. Jasmine passed hers to me. So I'm going to be holding up on my head Jasmine's characters, and she's going to be giving me clues to guess them. With that said, since we are so PC here on Culture Insanity,
yes.
we're not going to be using anything that would be deemed offensive, and I feel like there should be some sort of buzzer or shock collar on us if we say an offensive word. So, for example, we can't use pronouns because pronouns, he and she, those are offensive.
You can't explain why things are different.
You can't
That's rude.
say
Yes.
a black person or a white person or an Asian person because obviously that's offensive. You can't say, what did you say?
You can't say why people are different because that's rude.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, and if you say people are different, then you're saying that they are less. So that's rude, and that's politically incorrect. So, so we're going to try and speak as generally as possible in describing these characters. So I guess, why don't I hold mine up first, which means Jasmine is going to be giving me clues to guess whatever character she wrote down.
And so what do I do in this time?
You laugh at me, I guess?
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
you get to just observe.
Okay.
I guess the competition is who can get it in the least amount of clues.
Okay.
Okay?
Well,
So
And you're gonna look.
which way do I hold it?
Make sure to look into make sure to hold it to
that
the,
way.
This
to
way?
the camera
Well, that
also
way.
so the camera can see.
Well, I wrote mine in pencil. Sorry,
oh, yeah.
guys.
Don't look at the.
Hold it into the camera. So I'm trying to guess the first name. It's not up on my screen.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to guess the first name.
I don't remember what the first name is.
Seriously? Look at the camera.
I can't. My internet is slow. I'm sorry.
You suck.
Oh,
And that was politically incorrect.
Why
all
you
right.
said you? Or
So-
because I suck?
First name on my head. Give me a clue. This character has been resurrected from TV or movie.
Clue.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be one word or something.
There's no way he's gonna get this.
I know.
Why did you give me an impossible one?
I wasn't.
Is it because
I will be honest. I wasn't sure how this game was supposed to work. I was supposed to pick out 3 people. That's all you told me. You're not
Please,
like
no! No!
exactly.
No!
I.
Do I throw in the towel on the first one?
Let me look at it.
There's literally no way I would get it.
Okay, let's just go with the second one.
The second one. All
Pick
right.
the best one of the 3. Just go with the second one.
All right. So clues. I can't. I can describe things. Yeah.
Just
Except
be
for with
politically correct.
So this is from a television program that was very popular for our group a couple years ago. It features a lot of. Oh no! Don't
This
time
is for me, not you. This timer's for me.
Oh, good. Well, we're not ready for the timer yet, Josh.
No, it's for you. It's for you.
Okay. Well, it was originally on paper, like they did the animations on paper, and it took a long time.
Okay.
And it's a character from that TV show who.
Kenny McCormick.
You're correct.
That was good.
How many clues does that count as? 'Cause
South Park.
I feel like you did a lot of clues. You talked about paper. You talked about it being a show.
I don't remember the
talked
show
about-
being popular in our group at
I
any
don't remember that
specific
either.
time.
Maybe it was just for me.
I've always liked South Park.
Maybe my
All right.
group.
We're losing viewers left and right here, guys.
Are we really?
You're welcome.
All right. Hold yours up, Josh. Flip. It's upside down. There you go.
Okay.
All
Who
right.
am I holding it to? You? No.
No,
you.
he's supposed to. He's
Okay.
supposed to do it.
It's for you. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, don't look.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't look.
All right. This person. It's hard to understand this person. That's my first clue.
That's
to you.
it? Oh, okay. That's the
Can I
first
see
one.
that again?
Okay, keep going.
Couldn't get after the first clue. Hard to understand this person. This person, they have kind of big eyes. That's a pretty
This
defining.
also seems like Kenny. Is it?
Yeah. Complete coincidence. Apparently, Jasmine and I.
This is why I wanted to check beforehand.
All right. So
I think I won that one.
Yeah, you did for sure.
Okay.
I don't know how to hold things. I don't know how to hold things.
Your first one.
Okay. This individual. I'm going with the second one on that.
Oh, okay.
This individual helps another individual who they are not supposed to be helping. Yes.
Okay. More, please.
Okay. They help another individual who they're not supposed to be helping.
Why would they need help? Are you saying something about their
Are you being an ableist
their
right now,
potential?
Josh?
They help another individual who needs helping to help a city which needs helping as well.
I'm lost.
I'm literally lost.
This person helps another individual who doesn't want help or
Who
doesn't need
needs help?
Who needs help?
To help a city that needs helping as well.
Are you talking about Jason Todd?
No, I'm not talking about Jason Todd.
That
But right
would be
universe.
good. Oh,
Right universe.
helps a person who needs help, or
Yes.
help city. So right universe, I'm getting closer.
Right. Helps the person who needs helping help a city who needs help.
That's a lot of cities.
I just want to say this game sucks. I'm just sorry, like it worked better on paper. Okay, so this individual wears a trench coat. This individual has facial hair.
All right, you're about to get buzzed.
Yeah, I don't know.
This
You're in the
individual-
right universe.
That's good.
This
I'm-
individual is authorized to help the city, but even though
Oh, is it Commissioner Gordon?
it is commissioner.
Yes.
Authorized to help. the
See,
city.
you can't say wears a trench coat because how many superheroes wear a trench coat? It's kind of the cool thing to do.
Okay.
I don't actually know how many superheroes.
I think it's a lot.
Should we do one more?
I don't know. It was
It's a-
pretty rough.
It
was
fell
pretty
flat?
rough.
It's a
It fell
great
flat.
success so far.
Well,
It fell-
two
it fell
of us
flat.
both had Kenny McCormick.
Right.
Yeah. Can I look at my card now?
I don't know where yours. Oh yeah, this one's
No,
yours.
no, the ones in my hand. I want to see who's on.
This episode 10 is going to go down in the history books as the greatest episode of Culture.
The best
Insanity.
episode.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on then.
Let's move on.
That was a dud.
Skeletor?
Hey,
Skeletor?
Skeletor. Did you ever watch Masters of the Universe?
No.
Like He-Man.
No.
Okay.
I'm a post-millennial.
I had Jack Sparrow and Glenn from The Walking Dead for you.
Nice.
Next ones. Anyways, well, they can't all be winners, guys.
That's true. They can't all be winners.
We were trying to do something new and different for you because we felt like trivia maybe played out, but
I still continue my winning streak, though.
we actually have pretty good interaction when it comes to trivia, so maybe we just go, stay in your lane.
Stick with what works.
That's
Stay
right.
in your lane. Okay, moving on. Where are we? All right, here's a good one. So in a couple weeks, there's going to be a movie coming out with Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like I'm saying it wrong, but my mouth doesn't really want to say the name the right way. But it's about it's about a guy, a real life person, who was a Pentecostal pastor who came to believe that there are no burning fires of hell waiting for the damned. So basically, he was known for preaching like heaven and hell and that kind of thing, but because of some reason that I don't know, he completely switched tunes and then became well known for teaching that maybe those things don't exist, or why are we so concerned if those things exist, and doesn't God's love save all people? So I mean, this is going to be a good transition into April's next cross-examination panel. Shameless plug, not so shameless plug, about heaven and hell.
No
But
shame about it.
yeah, there's a question of when is it okay to change the narrative of what your source material is. I would say when it comes to scripture, you better be careful. Just,
When it comes to scripture, I would say never.
yeah,
Yeah, don't do that.
Honestly,
to change the narrative. Yeah,
But-
that's a big red flag.
but let me be clear. When it comes to scripture, I would say never. But I also feel the same way about pretty much everything. Like if the narrative that you have like encapsulated in history is this, then you shouldn't go back and retcon it. You know, you shouldn't go out back and retroactively change the continuity of
So,
this
like,
idea.
The Nazis did bad things, and then try to spin it like.
Well,
maybe, maybe the Nazis didn't do bad things. Maybe they were just misunderstood.
Right. Well, that's
or
kind
something.
of what's
Maybe
going
Hitler.
on. That's kind of what's going on with is it Poland? Like, do you know the whole thing about Poland and the Nazis right now?
No.
Where they're trying to not teach it or something.
Poland,
Not involve
I think
themselves.
it's Poland.
Right?
I think Poland passed a law. Yeah, the Poland Holocaust law.
What is that?
Poland passed a law that basically said that if you say that Poland was involved in the Holocaust at all, you can be prosecuted by Poland and sent to jail.
Prosecuted by the country.
Right, and just so you know, Poland, I believe, is where Auschwitz was. So,
Get a
yeah.
fact check on that.
I'm looking it up. But I will tell you that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called it an attempt to rewrite history.
I'm posting that article.
Yeah, because it looks like it. Yeah, because a Polish death camp.
Southern Poland,
They want that word not used.
a country that was annexed by Germany at the beginning of World War II.
Right. You posted an article for it.
Yes, I did.
Oh, cool. It's the Time article. Cool.
Okay, so say that again. They're prosecuting people for if a person says that Poland was
Involved.
with the Nazis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. This is how the Prime Minister of Poland put it. A gang of professional thugs enters a two-family house. They kill the first family almost entirely. They kill the parents of the second, torturing the kids. They loot and raze the house. Could one, in good conscience, say that the second family is now guilty for the murder of the first? So what they're saying is that Poland was that family who was raided. And so now they're saying that we were taken over by the Nazis as well, so we're not guilty of those things. But, I mean, I don't know how it is for Auschwitz, but I went to Dachau, and I remember a whole thing at Dachau about how the town of Dachau was complicit in that. And Eisenhower made them, he made them bury the bodies.
Yeah.
Because they
remember
knew
that.
what was going on. And yes, they were occupied as well, but they were complicit in those actions.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Don't get me wrong. That's a very jacked up situation to be in.
Yep, terrible.
But at the end of the day, you have a choice you're going to make, right? And you have to live by that choice. And so, are you willing to live? Like, are you wanting to live, even if it means this, or are you willing to die because then it would mean this about you? That's a tough place to be. But yeah, I mean, if they were complicit, then complicit.
It's a far cry from the narrative, like from what we're talking about with. What are we talking about?
The pastor, the movie.
Right, the pastor, yeah. I mean, he's trying to say that that he like personally doesn't see like an evidence of hell. The problem is that the scripture talks about hell.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus believed in hell. And his disciples clearly believed in hell. And the whole sacrifice of Jesus on the cross was to save people from hell. So you can't remove hell from the narrative. There's a whole interesting thing going on right now with the Pope too.
Yeah.
Where like the Pope apparently, although it seems like it wasn't true, but the Pope was quoted as saying that there wasn't a hell, that people just cease to exist, like the way that the Jehovah's Witnesses, I believe. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me, but I think that the Jehovah's Witnesses.
But the Pope is saying that.
So this is what was said, and now the Roman Catholic Church is pushing back, saying, wait a second, the Pope never said that. Your guy misinterpreted it. It is interesting because this guy's tried to say this about the Pope before, but he never records his conversations. And he's like 93 years old with an axe to grind.
Oh my gosh.
He's an atheist. He's 93 years
Holy
old.
cow.
And he constantly quotes the Pope as like saying
like my
things.
grandpa.
So
He's just sitting in
it
his
sounds
office
a little bit, yeah, it sounds,
writing letters.
It sounds a little bit off. And I believe the Catholic narrative over that. But yeah, like you can't just take and pick and choose. But this is what we're doing, like as a society, right? This is just taking what has been with other things, like with the Planned Parenthood thing, like taking and picking what you want and making that fluid. And
Yeah, I mean,
attributing that to
I
this.
was
like,
just thinking that, like, it's more of what we're seeing, like, I mean, heaven, hell, God, you know, as long as we love each other, right? You
Right.
know, and, like, all that other stuff, I mean, does it matter, you know? I mean, never mind that the Bible says all these things about all these things. But...
Right, right. Well, and there's a whole movement in Christianity called the Emergent Church that wrestles with the concept of heaven and hell. And, I mean, you can look up videos like some of the videos by Rob Bell where he talks about hell and doesn't really talk about hell.
Well, if you think about it, how, and I Googled it because I want to make sure that I had the right one in my mind, but how much is the power diminished in a statement like, for I'm convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, nor neither the present nor the future, nor any powers of hell or whatever.
Right.
Like, how much less powerful is that statement? And I'll post a link to the verse.
Yeah, she's talking about Romans 8:38 and 39.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, where he says that these things can't separate you from God's love. Let's see. I'm looking up Rob Bell right now.
If you
Can't
take
separate you
if you
from
take
hell. That
if
doesn't
you take
exist.
that away, then you're completely diminishing all that Christ lived and died for. You're taking a lot of it away. And yeah, it's all over Scripture. Romans talks about it. It's in Matthew talking about eternal life with the eternal punishment and eternal life. It's obviously in Revelation, you know, more than once. I think Thessalonians talks about it or something. But yeah, it's all over Scripture. And so how a pastor can pick and choose, I hate it. I hate it very much. Pick and choose what they want to believe and what they want to teach on a text that is as sacred as the Scriptures are and as multiply attested as they are, like we've been talking about in our church. But I
mean, the problem is that there's a difference between sacred and holy, right? Mm-hmm. Like sacred is the thing that we set apart for ourselves in our tradition, you know? So like, I was going to say wearing all black. That's sacred for me. Or eating spaghetti. That's sacred for me. That's my favorite food, you know? And we all have things that are sort of sacred practices to us. We get angry when those things aren't, you know, observed and so on and so forth. But holy is when we believe that the sacredness of that practice is something that was given to us that we did not establish. It's set apart because it itself is other than us. And that Scripture is no longer holy to people. It's just sacred. You know, it's that book that means something to my family, but it's not the book that came from God. It came from men, and it's been translated so many times and blah, 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 blah from people that haven't like looked into it. But if you really look into it, if you look past the let's call it the best sellers list at Barnes and Noble,
That's right.
and you look past people who are unbelieving critical scholars, and you look at the wealth of information, going back to the first century, what you'll find is that the scripture narrative is the most attested historical document, and there's a reason why Christians believe it to be holy and not sacred. But the problem here, where we have this guy that Chewbacca.
Let's just name the pastor's name.
What's his name? You have this guy.
Get a sound clip for
which, by
it.
the way, that guy Chiwetel Ejiofor or whatever his name is, he's a
Ejiofor.
great actor.
He is good.
He's a really good actor. If you ever get the chance to watch him in Serenity, he's great in Serenity. But anyway, the guy that he's playing,
Carlton Pearson.
there you go, Carlton Pearson, he stopped seeing the scripture as holy, if he ever did, and saw it as sacred. And at that point, when it became something that was no longer revelation from God, but was a revelation from man, it can be messed with.
Yeah, when you stop seeing it as holy and authoritative. Yeah.
And I pull up this article on Time from Rob Bell. Let's see, who
Is
was
he one of the guys that...
in late 2007, Pastor Rob Bell's Mars Hills Bible Church put on an art exhibit about the search for peace in a broken world. And we scrolled down. A visitor to the exhibit had stuck a note next to the Gandhi quotation, and it says, "Reality check, he's in hell." And so this is what Bell says in his book. Really? He recalled thinking, Gandhi's in hell? He is? Do we have confirmation of this? Does somebody know this without a doubt? And that somebody decided to take on the responsibility of letting the rest of us know? So this is like how Rob Bell is thinking. And of course there is what we would call a logical fallacy here, right? Just because we can't prove something doesn't mean that it's not true. Just because I can't explain how something works, like this microphone that's in front of me, although I can explain it. But
I can't.
Imagine that I couldn't explain how this microphone worked and that I can't see what's inside of it. I can't see all the wires that are inside of it and so on and so forth, which I can't. Does that mean those wires aren't there? It's just really low philosophically. And that's what we have here. There's an agenda by this pastor. What's his name again? Pearson?
Bishop Carlton Pearson.
Yeah. There's an agenda by this pastor who basically wants to change the message. And as I recall, he flipped his script after he got in trouble. Let me take a look at this.
In trouble for what?
He got in trouble for something. Yeah, anyway, I'll look it up. But Pentecostal Grace is what it was called.
The director said about the movie and about him, "Here's a man who prayed and contemplated and ultimately said, 'I've changed what I believe.' It takes tremendous courage to examine and revise your beliefs. This is a powerful story of a man stood up for what he believed even in the face of severe criticism."
Right. Yeah, and he's not a Christian. I mean, he's essentially a universalist. All paths lead to God. There is no hell. So, I'm not sure when that happened, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he didn't get in trouble. I was watching, I think, a 2020 interview on him.
Recently?
Yeah, I'll have to look that
weird.
up.
Was it connected to the coming movie or something? Or was it just random?
Yeah, it was connected to it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love 2020, by the way.
Let's see. What else do we got for today? Oh, yeah. So, this is relevant just because, again, it's Resurrection Sunday tomorrow, and yesterday was good. Yesterday was Friday, right? Yesterday was Good Friday. So as per our tradition, in our household, we watch The Passion. And for those of you that don't know, there is a sequel of The Passion in the makes, starring Jim Caviezel.
Wow.
Caviezel, once again.
Caviezel.
Directed by Mel Gibson. So that's in the works. And there was an article that I posted while we were watching the movie last night that was just talking about how perhaps this movie has a lot up against it already because of the time we're in. For example, like the industry the industry is sort of oversaturated with faith-based movies like that.
Right.
Like you have the God's Not Dead movies. And
Right. I think a third one just came out.
yeah, I just saw a preview for one when I went into the movies the other day. And there's like a whole production company. It's either a production
They had
company.
Kevin Sorbo. They had Kevin Hercules Sorbo in them.
Okay.
I'm gonna find something on that, but yes.
But yeah, there's either it's either a production company or it's a whole streaming service that puts out content and movies.
Right, PureFlix.
PureFlix, yeah. About faith-based movies or whatever, God-centric movies, and yeah. So they were talking like maybe the time and culture or whatever isn't ripe for a movie like maybe when Passion came out, and like back then Mel Gibson had like some pretty huge evangelical leaders like championing that movie. Like he had Billy Graham even helping him push that movie, and like Joel Osteen or something like that, and like whole blocks were rented out for like churches to go and like watch this movie because it was so important at the time. And I mean, I don't personally remember it because I was like 13, so
I remember it very vividly.
that was like the last thing on my mind at that age, unfortunately. But I remember it was what is that word? Controversial.
Oh yeah.
I remember it was controversial. I didn't know why, and I remember it was a big deal. But like, would a movie like that be as impactful nowadays? What do you think?
If it was directed by Mel Gibson, yes.
Well, Mel Gibson's a good director.
That's the thing that I like watching The Passion last night. It's like, it's just beautiful. And I remember thinking about even just like the opening scene of The Passion filmed in all blue, and like he used the super high speed cameras in order to like feign it moving slow in order to film it. I'm really nerdy about these things. It's just really beautiful, and he's just a really good director. What's the Apocalypto?
That movie's intense.
Beautiful also. So I think
Is that what it is? It just these kind of movies just need a filmmaker who's actually great.
Yeah. And they need a cast that's great. I mean, it's not the content of it that is terrible. It's not like Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments was a terrible movie for its time. It was a great movie. The issue is that once evangelical Christianity got a hold of the television like media spectrum with like the Crystal Cathedral and all of these different things, and TBN and Pat Robertson and the 700 Club, and people started Christians started trying to become filmmakers, as opposed to filmmakers who happen to be Christians making movies.
Making great movies. Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing with Mel Gibson's, The Passion, is that Mel Gibson is a professing believer. I'm just going to go there and try to be safe with that.
You're being nice with that?
I'm being nice with that. He's a professing believer who wanted to make a film that he said would be good for the soul. And so that's what we got.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I just watched that one that just came out. Paul.
Right, which
of Christ.
Caviezel's also in.
Yeah, so it tells you something about Jim Caviezel. I've never actually read anything like about his beliefs or anything. Have you?
Yeah, there's actually like YouTube videos where he talks about his experience in filming The Passion, like how that affected him as a person.
Did he go into it one way and came out another way or something?
He went into it not as strong. We'll put it that way. I think he had like a certain belief. I can't remember the fullness, but he has, what we in Christianity would call a testimony.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really interesting to watch. Apparently he was struck by lightning twice.
I wonder, is that actually a thing, or is that one of those things that happened, but it's been blown way out of proportion?
No,
I was thinking about that last night.
No, I mean, well, you think about like the cross, and like where they were filming, it's prone to those types of storms, and then you're like standing there and you're mic'd and all these various things, and And so they're standing like on top of a hill. I think he was struck on the cross once, and then he was also struck when he was doing the scene for the Beatitudes, where he's like teaching like blessed or whatever, you know.
Struck by lightning. Twice.
And not just him, but the assistant director or something was also struck by lightning twice. His let's see, he was whipped twice, like full on whipped.
Do you read anything into these things?
No.
They're just interesting.
I mean, he reads those. No, I don't read anything.
He reads into them?
He reads into them as being like just sort of like pushbacks, like they were doing something important. But like there's a scene where he's like blue, essentially, like he's got this like blue tinge to him, which is common for people asphyxiating, like on the cross. That's because he was actually asphyxiating.
What the?
He was actually suffocating because of the
way he was
because of the position that he was in.
What the?
And so he was actually like in that. And like I said, he had whip marks on his back, and he still bears the scars of the
Respect.
whips. The scene where
that's crazy.
Excuse me. The scene where you see his hand and it sort of goes like this when he gets whipped, and like he like it scrapes against the thing. That was when he actually got whipped.
Holy
and
cow.
They kept it in the movie. There's a bunch of things. Yeah, there's a bunch of things that he talks about.
Yeah, and then you were saying the guy that you were telling me last night, the guy that plays Judas. It's Judas, right?
Right.
He went into it like an atheist, and he came out a believer.
Right.
Or something. Yeah. No, what was I saying? Paul, the apostle of Christ. We started talking about Jim Caviezel. I don't remember what I was saying. Yeah, I mean, I think it was having to do with great filmmakers that are wanting to tell those stories rather than Christian filmmakers who aren't as good wanting to tell those stories. But yeah, that movie, I mean, it was fine. It was simple, I would say. And I was telling Josh that that Paul movie, it sort of like treated the audience like dumb in a way. And yeah, there was not a lot of... You know, one of the things I was saying to Brittany about it was, so one of the reasons why Passion is such a powerful movie is because you, like we were talking about last night, you see the lengths at which Christ was willing to go and be like physically, you know, beaten and all these things and tormented.
Which again are worse than what the Passion depicts.
Than the movie depicts, right?
Right.
Yeah. I was telling Brittany though during that Paul movie that like it could have been more powerful in that sense. Like, not that I want to see those things in a movie, you know, but
Looking
to see the times, like, yeah, they lit these people on fire to light the streets of their city. Like,
yeah,
there was a film in there that could have been more powerful,
right,
if they were willing to go all the way,
right,
like Mel Gibson did. And yeah, and I don't know that I'd call it unfortunate, but like I said, like there was a version of that movie that could have been really
perhaps a
profound,
missed opportunity.
A missed opportunity, but instead it was just sort of simple and easy to digest kind of movie, you know, for the audience. And so, yeah, I always get excited for movies, you know, God-centric movies or faith-based movies, but they usually let me down, I'd say.
I think the last good one that I saw was the Case for
I didn't
Christ,
even see that
Case
one.
for Faith or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's the Lee Strobel movie.
Yeah, I never got to see that.
It was okay.
Was it?
I mean, obviously it's more of a biopic than anything, but it was okay. It was okay.
Didn't they just come out? Oh, there was a movie. Yeah, my boss was talking to me about it. My boss's boss. About some song. It was called "You Can Only Imagine" or something.
Right. That
he was
country song,
talking
right?
it up. He was like, "It was great. My wife was sobbing,
it's making
blah, blah,
money."
blah. So I don't know. Maybe when it comes to digital, I'll watch it. But
right.
Yeah. Anyways,
I Can Only Imagine.
I Can Only Imagine. So that's the name of the song.
Yeah, by a band called Mercy Me.
Yeah, never heard of them. My boss was talking it up. But yeah, I don't know. Do we get any interaction this week?
No, we got nothing, and it seems like maybe we alienated our audience several times over.
You think so?
No, not really. But I posted a link to it, by the way. But yeah, we got 2 people that are on there right now. I think maybe we had 3 or 4. 4 at most.
4 at most.
Well,
I can verify.
4 at most. But that's okay, because we will be back in 2 weeks, and that's one of the things that we are working on right now. We have Jasmine on because it's our 10th episode, and Jasmine is the station manager now for the VRN.
Yes, I
the
am.
director. Or
Right.
station manager. What's her title?
Station
I'm
manager.
the station manager.
Right.
Station manager.
Super official.
And so she has a vision for how Culture and Insanity is going to work, which is?
Which is, A, that it is on a consistent schedule,
That's a big one.
Yep.
and B, that there's a lot of interaction and posting in the comments and such.
Right, which we've already started to do. And then C, better games. We'll work on finding
That wasn't
a game.
part of my vision, but
We'll work on finding
That's
a
your-
game that,
that's your guys'.
that works.
It sounded like a good idea.
It sounded like a good idea on paper. It just, the execution.
We had good laughs about it even.
yes.
The politically correct Guess Who game.
Right.
Hey, you think every SNL sketch lands? No. They pitch it to Lorne Michaels, and Lorne Michaels says, yeah, that could be funny. And then you watch it, and you're like, that sketch was lame.
We are men,
Yes.
full-grown men, and we teach children lessons.
So,
There it is.
next episode will work to be funnier and better in terms of the game. But anyways, I guess that'll wrap it up for tonight's episode. So if you're interested in today's topics, you can go ahead and check us out on Culture Insanity WordPress. Check out our Facebook and Twitter. We're trying to be pretty good at having a good presence there. That's part of our new reformat, I would say. So look for polls. Josh is personally a big fan of polls, so
I love polls.
he always throws polls out there.
On Truth Time with Pastor Dad, it was Pastor Monty. Sorry, Truth Time with Pastor Monty. It was determined that cats are evil,
because it's true.
according to the polls. Although there was an agreement with the Vatican on that. So
check out our
bittersweet.
Facebook. If you haven't seen, we got a new logo designed by yours truly, Josh McGarry over here.
that's true.
So we got some new branding, some rebranding going on. So our Facebook page is pretty active right now. We'll work on getting the other things pretty more active. But so there's that. If you have something that you're personally interested in and want to hear discussed, tune in to every episode every other Saturday. So 2 weeks from tonight. What's up?
Cross X.
Yeah, getting there.
Cool.
There. So reach out to us on those platforms. If you're interested in exploring your faith or are completely new to Christ and or the Bible, you can check out the help tab on vigilance.blog. And with that, like Josh just mentioned, the last Sunday of this month will be the fourth cross-examination discussion panel.
That's
The
wrong.
topic being
29th.
heaven and hell. So you can look forward to that. If you have questions on heaven and hell, you can post them using the hashtag #CrossX, letter X. So yeah, it should be, I would say, a pretty fun discussion.
We're
And
looking at a 3-denomination panel.
a 3-denomination panel.
Yep.
So there you go. Look forward to that on the 4th Sunday this month, which is, what did you say, Jasmine?
The 29th.
The 29th of April. So, yeah, and obviously tomorrow's Easter, so I would encourage you guys to do right by that time.
Yeah.
You know, take the time that you have and can give, I guess is a nice way of putting that. And we look forward to next podcast, number 11, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
And
8 o'clock, Saturday.
8 o'clock, and we've got that down. That's our time.
That's our time. Saturdays. Well,
Every
every
other
other
Saturday.
Saturday, 8 o'clock.
Boom,
Facebook Live.
boom,
Yes.
boom. And so with that, later.
The views presented in this program are not meant to express the specific views of the Lafayette Bible Fellowship. You are listening to the Vigilance Radio Network.